Okay, guys, coaches here.
Yes. Obviously, tough game. Tough game, tough loss. Credit Villanova. They were really, they were just really, really good defensively. Made far less mistakes than we did, and and then they made all the critical plays in the last 8 minutes of the game where it's a one possession game. They were able to extend it to 10 and take advantage of some things. Gillespie's threes were huge. He was tremendous. Robinson Earl, tremendous. Credit to those guys. They just a really mature and just didn't make a lot of mistakes.
Wayne?
What was the nature of the injury to James, and how did that affect his shooting after he went down and came back in the game?
Yeah, he got a little nicked up, but they're pretty physical with him. He's a hard-playing guy. He just bruised up, banged up. I think more of his just issue today was fatigue, conditioning. And then as he got tired, probably tried to do a little bit too much.
Did you take more threes than you had planned on? You took 27 threes and 28 twos.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about driving it, a lot. They did a really good job of sitting in gaps. And they held up better on the ball. They won, they won those one-on-one battles when we tried to get downhill.
And conversely, what were the challenges they gave you at their end of the court, getting the ball in the lane, especially with the guards?
Yeah, I mean, Gillespie really hurt us, obviously. It's a tough matchup physically in terms of size. Obviously, getting RJ in foul trouble kind of took away the possibility of us getting that second scorer that we probably needed. But I didn't think our problems were at the defensive end of the court. Our issues were offensive.
Gavin?
Dan, talking about your offense, what particularly were they doing to keep you guys kind of under wraps?
Well, they were switching a lot. They were switching a lot. They were obviously really loading up to James. I think the lesson learned for us today is that we have to play offense. We've got to get the ball moving better. We can't. The ball just can't end up in James's hands. Just trying to bail us out. I think just collectively as a team, we've got to have a better approach. Obviously, we've got to get James the ball in a lot of different places. But I don't think that the ball moved quite anywhere near as well as we needed to.
Neil?
Dan, what you had him bottled up pretty good from three all day. What did you do so well? I mean, aside from those Gillespie's ones late, what did you do well there, and how did you kind of just get free for a sec?
Yeah, I mean, we had to live with the brutal backdowns from the guards. The old Mark Jackson backdown stuff. And we just, as tough as it is to watch, Gillespie and their guards back you in under the rim and score. If you start running down there, that's when they really start getting you out of the game with the way they can just destroy you from three. So, if we played a little bit better offensively, if we, which is hard for us, if we would have played better offensively, we would have had a real chance down the stretch to win the game.
Sean McFarland?
You kind of touched on it, but down the stretch there, you had that 7-minute stretch where you didn't get a field goal. And that seems like one of those moments where you really want to find someone who's not James Bouknight to put the ball in the hoop. And over these next, last few games of the regular season, what's what's that process going to look like of finding that second or third guy who's not James Bouknight to score in those moments?
Yeah. So, this is James. This is James's second game in 5 days. So, I just got to have some patience. And now we're obviously a completely different team with James returning. We don't have much of a runway to get our act together. We don't play fantasy basketball. You've got to develop chemistry and feel again and a flow, and guys got to learn to play off each other better. I mean, he's literally been back for 5 days. So, he doesn't have to apologize for us being really choppy offensively. We just, returned this player. So just need a little bit of time to get our timing and execution down. The problem for us is, we don't have a lot of time. We've got 4 games left in the regular season to put this thing together and to play efficiently against a team of this caliber.
Tom?
Dan, no, obviously the circumstances are not the same, of course, exactly. But last year, when you think about where you were with 4 games to go last year and what you accomplished in those 4 games, do you feel like you can put it together and do that, have that kind of jump, that kind of run again this year? Do you see the ingredients for that?
Yeah, I think we're confident. We're confident. This is one of the best teams in the country. That we faced today, the class of our league, and I think we're capable. Credit them. They made far less mistakes, and their mindset is, championship level. We've got a chance to put something together down the stretch here. We don't have a lot of time, and we don't have much of a safety net. We've got to win down the stretch here, and we've got to get James's conditioning and his cardio back to level, and then we've got to put that chemistry together with the group quickly. After missing him for 6 weeks, when you play an elite team and a team of that caliber, I think that that was a tough ask for James to come to put together a virtuoso performance with 1 game in 45 days and 5 practices. So we'll be better by the time the Big East tournament rolls around, and hopefully we get a chance to play them again.
Time for one more, Jeff?
Yeah, Dan, just kind of follow up on that thought process. Is James's cardio the most important thing here that he was so devastating early in the game, and then they put the stops on him and he looked a little tired, or is the chemistry that has to come together with him in here more important? I mean, like you said, there's not much time left, but those 2 things are kind of like utmost importance.
Yeah, so your column, you're probably gonna have to slash the headline because we need both. I mean, we need, these guys. We can't stand and watch James. We've got to continue to get movement. He's got to trust his teammates. He's got to get in game shape. I mean, it's very, very difficult what we asked him to do. We've got to get more contributions. We've got to get a better flow to our offensive game. I mean, credit Villanova, the way they guarded, but, James got off to a blistering start and they didn't change their defensive principles. His conditioning got him. And then when he got tired, his decision-making got away from him.
If I could just follow up on one thing. Gillespie, if he played for Duke, he'd probably be the most hated player in America, but he plays for Villanova, and you just got to admire the way he does. Does he foul when he goes into the lane? He's so aggressive horizontally after his pump fake. Does he foul on that move?
I thought The officials were outstanding today. They're physical. You know, that he's physical, they're physical. I mean, we're a pretty physical team. You know, it's Big East basketball. You got to be sturdier. You know, he's a heck of a player, though, hell of a leader, and you know, you tip your cap. He made those big threes that iced the game.
Okay, thanks, Coach. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, James, obviously they, got off to a really good start. Coach was saying that he thought kind of fatigue might have hurt you down the stretch. Did you feel a little bit out there, considering you've only been back for a little bit and a couple of games, and was fatigue kind of get you towards the end there?
Yeah, definitely, but that's not an excuse. I mean, I pushed through it, I played through it, so I'm not going to use that as an excuse.
Neil?
Were you worried when you went down the first half, Book? It seemed like, it felt pretty hard. You came back in, but when it first happened, were you thinking something was really, really wrong?
Nah, I just fell on my elbow, and I felt it felt fine, so I went back in. I wasn't worried at all.
Gavin?
What were they doing to slow you guys down offensively, Villanova? Defensively, what was Villanova doing?
They did a good job of loading up on whoever had the ball and was trying to make plays. They played a very good team defense, and we were just a step slow offensively. Coach emphasized that we couldn't make that many mistakes, and we made too many mistakes, and they executed on the mistakes we made.
Aaron, Gracie?
Hey, James, I was going to also ask you about the defense, but I'll shift gears just about playing back to being the Big East and playing Villanova. I know there weren't any fans here today, but what was your impression?
Well, Coach K-Free, he told us yesterday night that Villanova is in the past 4, 5, 6 years, they've been at the top of college basketball, and we just can't forget who we are. Like two of the most historic, two programs with some of the most historic college basketball backgrounds, and going head to head, that's must-see TV.
Danny, Barletta?
Yeah, James, I guess, this is only your second game back. Did you feel like that, your cardio really played a factor in the second half? Like, did you really feel like you ran out of gas? And I guess, how do you hope to get that back for future games?
No, I don't think that cardio played a factor. I think I did a bad job with my body language today, but that's just because I show I hold myself to such a high standard, and when things don't go the way I want them to, sometimes it's hard for me to hold it in.
Tom?
James, Coach talked about the championship mindset that Villanova has, what they've done in recent years and the way they made the big plays, hit the big shots the last few minutes. Did you see things there that you and UConn needs to now emulate? Do you see some things you could take away from this game and say, okay, we've got a few games left in the Big East tournament. This is what we need to do. This is what we need to be. You kind of see that as a measuring stick today?
Oh yeah, for sure. We need to focus on limiting mistakes and digging our line in the sand on defense and just shutting teams down. That's what we need to do.
Gavin?
James, you're obviously defenses are going to kind of focus on stopping you. What kind of adjustments do you have to make kind of down the stretch here?
I definitely work on finding an open man. I felt today I forced way too much. I think I was trying too hard to get in the paint and score instead of finding an open man. So that's one of the main things I need to work on.
Sean McFarland?
As Coach kind of said, with you back in the fold these past few games, the team is different. Team runs differently. and there kind of needs to be some work done over the next few games to kind of rebuild that chemistry and that cohesiveness. What are you and your teammates going to be doing these next 4 games to kind of build up that offensive chemistry and make sure things are moving smoothly before the tournament?
Definitely moving the ball, just sharing it and playing together on offense, and then off the court, just staying together. Like our culture thing. It's a culture thing for real. Like just being around each other, practicing together, competing, all that helps. And we need to do as much of that as possible down these last 5 games, 4 games, whatever it is.
Okay, guys, no more questions? I don't see any.
All right, so